Welcome everybody back to BSG Online 6, the bi-monthly gathering in the Benelux region for speedrunners. Due to situations surrounding COVID-19, we are currently doing our events online for the time being, and here we have our next run. We have SuperViperT302 with Pack and Roll Remix. Take it away.
Hello, so in case you missed the interview earlier, this is a remake of the Nintendo DS game Pack and Roll from 2005. This is part of the Namco Museum Remix and Namco Museum Mega Mix compilations for the Wii. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in 3, 2, 1, go. So the main goal in Pack and Roll Remix is that every single stage has a goal that you need to get to at the end, and since you're a limbless ball in this game, your only real movement is just rolling around. In addition to that, you can shake the gear mode to get this little burst of speed that you can also use to break open boxes, and you can get an insane amount of height if you can boost off of steep inclines. And most of the levels have these green Galva skates that you need to collect enough pack dots in order to open. Some of them are skippable, but for the most part, these stages are basically just going to be routing them out to where I'll be collecting the minimum number of pack dots required while also backtracking the minimum amount of times. Another interesting movement tech in this game is that you actually have the ability to break in place. So by using B or Z, you can actually stop Pac-Man's movement entirely. So what you saw me try to use a few times in that maze there is that you can use Z to stop Pac-Man's momentum and then boost straight into a different direction right away. And if you watch the tasks of this game by Ilomavi, which I would recommend doing immediately after this run, it's just boosting all over the place and switching boost angles all over the place, but humans simply cannot react that quickly. So the skill ceiling in this game is way higher than I'm making it look. Another useful feature about crouching and braking is that whenever you boost into a box, you usually get a huge amount of recoil. That's a slope boost, by the way. But by braking, as soon as I break the box, I can prevent that recoil from happening. And that's also just going to be useful in general to just keep Pac-Man from flying all over the place. He's very hard to control in this game. And as a result, having that brake feature keeps him from falling off of ledges left and right. So yeah, for the most part, this first world is pretty straightforward. In 1-4, we're going to be introduced to the first of the two powers in this game. This is Night Pack. So he's a little bit heavier than regular Pac-Man, meaning that he won't go as high from slow boost and stuff, and he's also a lot slower. But he's actually able to break those metal boxes, which normal Pac-Man can't do. So he is required in a few instances. Okay, that was kind of unfortunate. So yeah, I missed some pack dots on the platform there, so I have to go back up there for those. He can also sink underwater, by the way. So that's a bit of an unfortunate time loss. And now we're going to be heading on to 1-5. So here we're supposed to be introduced to the Light Pack power-up, but it's actually faster to skip it in this stage, because since normal Pack moves on the ground slightly faster, it's actually possible to make a slightly faster platform cycle that saves about 8 seconds. So Light Pack, it does make your physics pretty broken. You last longer in midair, you fall slower, and you get a lot more height when you do something like a slow boost. So you're going to be seeing that exploited quite a bit throughout the run whenever I have the power up to do some skips or even just crazy platforming and movement in general. So that's it for World 1. Now it's time for World 2. And speaking of Light Pack, this is where we're going to start exploiting him. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this Night Pack card, then go underwater and grab this Light Pack card. And now I can use a slope boost over here to get to this part of the level that's normally inaccessible to the very end. And then by using a ledge grab hop from here, I can actually jump into the gold platform without opening the gate. So that's the first gate skip of the run, saves about 35 seconds or so. So 2-2, this is the first level in the run that has a gate skip, but it is currently task only. And even if it were possible non-task, it wouldn't save that much time anyways. But this level does also introduce these jump pads, which allow Pac-Man to... obviously, he goes a bit higher on them, and I can use them to get up to these higher ledges early. So yeah, I need to open this gate in order to get Light Pack here, because it's basically impossible to make it through the section without it. Unless, of course, you have task level precision. And then 2-3 is a pretty big tease of a level. So in this level, the goal platform is actually located right behind where you start. and you would think you'd be able to slope boost from the beginning to the goal platform, which would save over a minute if it were possible, but it's just barely not possible. And the worst part is that it's actually possible in the DS version of the game, but it's not possible in this version. So I do have to play through the entire stage, which is unfortunate because it's a pretty long level. This also requires me to collect a lot of pack dots, which means routing here can be a little bit tight. I'm trying to actually have excess pack dots for most of these sections because that will prevent me having to go out of my way a whole lot in the later sections. So I had, for example, I had 7 reserve pack dots after that second gate, which means I didn't have to go to that second line off to the right there. And now we have the bowl here. I'm just going to kind of grab all the pack dots from the outer circles and then sort of work my way inwards. And you've probably noticed by now that I already have the entire game basically completed. And that might seem weird to you, like, if this is an any percent run, why do you have the whole game completed? Nothing changes in the base game between when you first play it and when you beat it afterwards. So while this is sort of NG+, this compilation autosaves by default, so it would be really annoying to have to wipe your memory for this game between attempts, so it's allowed to already have all the stages completed, and then that's also the reason why I have those extra bars of health that are normally inaccessible. You normally get those by collecting hidden pieces throughout the game, but in this category it's allowed to have all those collected ahead of time. So this is the first fight against Galvis. He's the main antagonist of the original game. The fight itself is pretty straightforward. You just eat 3 power pellets to turn him vulnerable, and then you eat him. You have to do it a total of 3 times. The power pellets will always spawn in the same spots in these fights, so it's mostly just a matter of getting to them quickly and memorizing their locations. I grabbed 9-pack there, by the way, so that I could break a metal box so that wouldn't be in my way when I was boosting, although it doesn't really matter anyway since I can wait for Galvis at the end here. So that's it for World 2. And now we're on to World 3, Sweet Land. So this first level in World 3 is a pretty reset-heavy level for a number of reasons. First of all, this pack dot route is tight enough to where I actually can't miss any pack dots in this route, otherwise I will lose at least 5 seconds. There is also a platform cycle I need to make in the second half of this level, about 40 seconds in, that has a somewhat tight window. And also, ghost movement is RNG, so sometimes these ghosts can just be in your way, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. So, you can damage boost through them, though. They do give you some iframes, and for the most part, they tend to not be too annoying. I got pretty unlucky there, though. Alright, I might still be able to make the cycle. Okay, I was a little bit late, but I still made it. So now that I've made it onto these platforms here, I can actually skip having to ride the cars for the rest of the stage. Because first I can just ledge hop between these platforms since I had light pack. And now I can make my way over here and just use slow boost to get to these final 2 platforms and get the remaining pack dots that I need. And I'll have exactly enough to open the game once I get all the pack dots from here. So yeah, very, very hard stage. That actually went, oh, decently well. It's very easy to have a massive time loss in that stage and just have to reset. So 3-2, there's a number of different ways you can go about completing this level. First of all, this first section is an absolute nightmare. Nice, it's very hard to get over all 3 of those ghosts, so that was very lucky. So I need to grab Night Pack here because there's some underwater pack dots I need to collect, which I need in order to have enough to open the gate. Okay, I didn't get so lucky on my way back. Optimizing movement in this game, like I said, is insanely difficult because there's a lot of tight corridors, and most of the time you're not holding notch angles. Okay, you can actually skip having to eat that normal pack card and then keep Night Pack for this section so that you don't have to eat Blinky in this section, but since normal pack moves so much faster, it's actually worth it to go ahead and just take the time to eat Blinky here. And since it's cycle-based, I can pretty much predict that he'll be right there, and then I can just kind of finish up eating the rest of the pack dots in there, and I have exactly enough. There we go. Alright, so now we're off to 3-3. This is a very cycle-based level. This entire level is basically on cycles if we have these moving ghost platforms. The cycle I'm going to be going for here is fairly lenient. It's actually a bit too lenient. It is faster to make... It is possible to make one cycle faster than this throughout the entire level, but it is ridiculously hard to do RTA. and I've only ever gotten it a couple of times, so we're just going to be kind of playing this level the standard way. Luckily, this is the kind of level where if you play it the same way every time, you should get the same in-game time every time, so that's kind of nice. And yeah, most of this level is just making the cycles and minimizing the amount of time I spend waiting on these platforms. So like right there, I tried to grab all those pack dots in one go. And then for this final section, I just have to play somewhat optimally in order to make sure I make the fast cycle. You're probably wondering why I'm not just ledge hopping around some of these gates, and that's actually because they place wind around the gates that pushes you back, so that if you try to ledge hop around them, you'll just get pushed by the wind, fall off, and die. And so that makes skipping gates in this level pretty much impossible. There's a couple other levels that do that. It's really unfortunate. So 3-4 is a level where I'm also going to be pretty stingy on pack dots, for reasons I'll explain at the very end. If I happen to miss a pack dot, it's usually not worth it to go back for it, because it just takes like a couple extra seconds of backtracking, so... but optimally, I won't miss any here, so... in this first section, I only have 3 spares anyways, and I just missed 1, so that's... okay. So I've already lost like a couple seconds there. I'm going to go into the water here to grab this normal pack card, because again, normal pack just moves so much faster, and he's also easier to control here. So it's a lot easier to get all these pack dots without slowing down. So the reason why I don't want to miss any pack dots in this level is because after this upcoming gate, there's going to be a roller coaster that I need to ride, and there's no way to skip the roller coaster because there's no way to skip the final gate. So I have to ride this roller coaster until I get the 80 pack dots from it. But luckily, once I get the 80 pack dot requirement, you can see in the upper left-hand corner and the lower left-hand corner how many pack dots I need for the current gate. Then I can actually fall off and die, and I will respawn at the checkpoint with all my pack dots still intact, which will end up netting a few seconds of time save overall. Now, since I am playing with autosave turned on and my life count changed from when I started the level, this is going to initiate an autosave when I complete the level. That wastes about like 4 seconds, but it still nets time save overall. That also happens, by the way, if you update a score any kind or beat an IL time. So I have to make sure to be careful that that doesn't happen. Luckily, I have all my scores maxed out. My IL times are pretty good, so you shouldn't see that happen too often. Alright. So here's the World 3 boss. This is definitely one of the scariest stages in the run, because very tiny platforms, a lot of tight movement, and basically any mistake or slight miscalculation in movement means you fall off and die. And if you die in a boss fight, you have to redo the entire fight. I have to pay really good attention here, because I need to pay attention to when that first power pellet spawns so that I can react quickly enough. This is going really well so far. Oh, I jinxed it. And then for this last phase, I have to time eating the power pellets at specific intervals so I can keep Golbus stunned for as much as possible. Because otherwise he becomes very hard to eat. So that was a decent fight. Alright, now we're off to World 4. This is definitely the hardest part of any percent. Pretty much every stage here is just ridiculously difficult. So, this level is definitely one of the hardest. This first section is kind of Pac-Man pinball on steroids, and not only that, there is a skip I will be attempting since this is a marathon and I might as well. This skip has only ever been done once RTA, and I'm only going to give it like one good attempt here, so we'll try this. Okay. So what I was trying to do there was initiate a glitch called a bounce boost in order to get a huge amount of momentum from those these platforms in order to skip over the barriers blocking the 4th section, which would have actually allowed me to skip the third and 4th gates in this level, and would have saved me about 10 to 15 seconds, but it's ridiculously hard. It requires a frame-perfect motion control-based input, and like I said, it has a hit rate of maybe 1 in 10 at best. So that was an unfortunate time loss, but at least I tried it. Okay. So 4-2 is a pretty straightforward level as well. You just kind of have to go through and get all the pack dots. Again, can't skip any gates here because there's wind, even though it looks like you should be able to. Okay, I want to rephrase that. So this level is another level that does have gate skips. The last 2 gates of the level can be skipped by just kind of slow boosting around them very precisely as light pack. but there's currently no humanly viable setups for that as well, and they wouldn't save a whole lot of time anyway, so it's very unlikely that those will ever be implemented. I have a decent amount of pack dots here. This is actually going pretty well so far. This section is really, really hard to get through without taking damage. There's a lot of obstacles in this level, so you're probably going to be taking a lot of damage. Luckily, there's also a lot of health refills. Alright, now I just got to get enough pack dots from here in order to open this final gate. Low 51 is really good for that level. Oh, I just re-entered that stage. That's a couple seconds lost, but that's okay. So, 4-3, I'm bound by a platform cycle at the very start. I actually got all those pack dots, nice. So, it doesn't really matter how fast I play in this section, because, as you can see, it looks like I just barely missed that cycle. As far as I'm concerned, you cannot make that RTA. The TAS obviously makes it, but humans just can't seem to get quite there yet. This is probably one of my favorite levels in the run movement-wise, especially coming up here. After this bounce pad section, there's some really, really cool movement you get to do here. I can use this bounce pad to sort of recoil me, and then I can boost off to the second bounce pad to save like 2 seconds. And I'm going to try to get exactly enough pack dots to open the gate. I'm going to wait here so that I don't accidentally beat my IL time, and there we go. Okay, so now it's time for 4-4. So this level is a long downward spiraling path. It doesn't have any Golbus gates, but you would think this would be the kind of level where you could just fall from higher sections to lower sections and save tons of time. There are going to be levels later in the run where I can do that, but in this level, we've only found one place where that's possible, and it only really saves like 7 or 8 seconds. I will be attempting it in this run. It is relatively precise, though. So here we go. Alright, that should work. This is very precise. Nice, first try. If you're too far up or too far down on the path, or if you don't get enough momentum from that slow boost, you are going to hit the death planes and die, so very glad I got that. And then the rest of this level is just boosting down this long path. It is still a very challenging level because you're taking a lot of really tight angles. You have to hold very precise directions, and if you hold even the slightest wrong direction or get caught on the slightest wrong bit of collision, you'll just... That's really bad. So that was a really bad mistake I just made there. This level is also very sparse with checkpoints, so die anywhere in this level and your run's basically dead if you're on world record pace. So that was like a 30-second time loss right there. I got the skip though, so it's fine. Yeah, it's super easy to die in this level if you make one simple mistake, so it's honestly not that shocking. And here's the autosave that I was talking about. So now we're on to 4-5. This is another very, very challenging level to get through, obviously. So I mentioned the bounce boost glitch earlier. To do that glitch, you have to boost on the same frame you come into contact with the bounce pad. It also works on lava. And so I'll be exploiting that a lot in this level because there's going to be a lot of damage boosting I can use to skip certain platforming sections. But like I said, it is frame perfect, motion control dependent, and I also have to be watching my health throughout this level. So in this first section, I can use bounce boosting to skip a bunch of these bounce pad platforms. And then I can use lava boosting to skip having to climb a bunch of these falling towers. And this is where having that extra health comes in handy. This is going really well so far. This level is also cycle-based, and if you play really, really optimally, you can get a cycle that allows you to complete the level in about 1 minute 7 seconds in-game time. I don't know if I'm on pace for that. Alright. I kind of YOLO'd that. I'm actually going to climb over to this other side. There we go. I can do one final set of lava boosts here. Alright, I needed to make sure I get that lava boost. That was a very clean level overall. That's very hard to do as well as I did. And now we're on to the 4 boss. So this level, this first part of the fight is pretty random because Golbus can rotate the platform a bunch of different ways. But you can mitigate most of the randomness by just slow boosting to those power pellets. It's still really precise though. And then here I'm going to try to slow boost to this power pellet early, and unfortunately I missed it because I didn't get enough height. It doesn't lose too much, though. Because, fortunately, you can pretty easily get all 3 of those power pellets, regardless of which way Golbus rotates the platform. So now, this last phase, he's going to try to sink the platform into the lava, and if I move quickly enough, that's not going to be a problem, because I can just lava boost for those power pellets. Okay, so, this world, World 5, is exclusive to the Wii version of this game. And what's hilarious about that is that every single level here is broken in a massive way. So in the task, this is actually the fastest level in the run, because it's doable in under 3 seconds in-game time, but that method is not possible. So as you can see here, the gold platform is located right next to where you start, but if you try slope boosting to it, your gravity is actually increased by a lot so that you just fall down as soon as you try slope boosting there. So with normal pack, it's barely possible to do it with task precision, but by going through that first gate, I'm able to get light pack, which allows me to do this setup in order to get high enough to just kind of get over that area and just skip straight to the gold platform. So that skips the second and third gates of the level and saves about like 50 seconds. And then in this level and 5-3, I can in fact abuse falling to get from higher sections to lower sections. And then this level also has a gate skip. I can just do a slope boost here to get into that higher ledge. And then this is the hardest level in the game. Just kidding, it's free. And now we have the last level, 5-4. So this level also has a gate skip, but I'm not going to attempt it because it's not very marathon safe. It only saves about 10 seconds. It's ridiculously precise, and if you fail it and die, you lose more time than the skip actually saves. And I think I might be attacked out short, but I don't actually remember. I think 19 is the minimum you're supposed to have. Actually, maybe I'm fine? Oh, I'm 1 short. That's really bad. So now I have to go back and get a backup hack dot. That was magnificent. Alright, here we go. Yeah. So now I have to go all the way back up there. If I had just done the gate skip route, maybe that would have worked. But like I said, that trick, it is required for a world record at this point, but not really worth it for marathons. But there are still some other cool tricks I can do in this level. For example, you can sort of crisscross on these platforms here. You can ride across the corners to skip some cycles. And then there's another big skip coming up here at the very end. So once I reach these, this light pack card here, I can use these jump pads to just kind of jump straight to the final gear of the level. That saves about like 30 seconds or so. And there we go. So that was very unfortunate that I messed up the route there. But now we're on to the final boss here. So this fight works in 2 phases. So this first phase is pretty much the same thing that you've seen before. You just gotta go around and get all the power pellets to eat Galvis. It's got a lot of boosting here, and very easy to die if you miscalculate even a single thing. It's very easy to just fall like between the gears or whatever. So this is a pretty difficult fight to do quickly. Case in point. Yeah, Galvis can pretty easily knock you off like that as well. So yeah, like I said, if you die in a boss fight, then you have to redo the entire fight, which does end up losing a lot of time. This run has not been going very well. So I do want to explain something that's going to happen in the second half of the fight. So in the second half of this fight, Galvis is going to be able to spawn ghosts that have power pellets on them as one of his attacks. And what's interesting is that if I save those power pellets until the third phase, I can actually eat them as Galvis is spawning in and do damage to him. Which means if I save all 3 of them for the final phase, I can cancel Galvis' spawning in animation and eat him early, which can save like 10 seconds. So another shout out to Ilamabi for finding this, as well as a bunch of the other skips I mentioned in this run. So this route might seem a little bit weird, but it's to keep all 3 of these ghosts behind. So time should be coming up very soon if I don't make another dumb mistake like I have been throughout most of this run. Alright, so to get ready on time, it's just boom, 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 and time. So my timer says 24:24. The world record is currently a 22:12 by me. That has potential to go sub 22:10, so that was honestly not that great of a run, but I still hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn this game, I will teach you everything there is to know about it on the one condition that you complete a run of it and get a time on the leaderboards. So that's it for this game. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching me. Thanks for BSG for having me, and I will throw it back on over to the host.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that run. We're going to go back to a short intermission, and that's the end of my hosting block, so I'm going to be handing you over to our new host, Tiny Tim. And coming up after the intermission will be Resident Evil Village, run by Nico with a C, so don't go anywhere.